the unintended consequences of Japaing in marriages and relationships.
I can't love you how love is meant to be loved. Sean, I mean,
shakes your foundation financially, emotionally, spiritually. Yeah. How about singles who did not marry before they left Nigeria and they are there? Japa has affected their chances of getting married.
To who they want, not just chances of getting married. It's because they are looking for like.
We should get married to who you want now.
No.
Your motive for Japan has to be very clear, and it has to be solid, data-backed, prayer-backed, God-backed, clarity. Like you're clear. Like
marriages face tests.
Yeah.
It's just that those who Japa face rougher tests sooner with more pressure and faster. You know. So what can they do?
I'm asking you now. Guys, welcome back to our channel.
Welcome back to Point Blank with the ADEYEMI-LEVITES. It's good to be here again. It's good to be in your faces. It's good to see you again. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, subscribing, for watching our videos, for commenting. We know you can do better. Thank you for everybody. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. Thank you to those who
have been sharing our videos.
Yes, and thank you to, if you've not yet subscribed, thank you to you, because we know you're going to subscribe before the end of this video.
Exactly.
Yeah, so today let's jump right in.
Yeah, let's jump right in because we have a lot to talk about today. Actually.
Yeah, you know, we always talk about how we want you to leave comments and, you know, tell us things you like us to talk about and what we'd like to discuss. And we've heard a number of people, this has been recurring, and this is why we want to talk about this very
important topic actually. Very important topic. The unintended consequences of Japaing in marriages and relationships. Let me say it one more time. The unintended consequences of Japaing in marriages and relationships. So Japaing, what does Japa mean actually?
Yeah, so for those of us who also, not those of us, for those of you who don't know the meaning of Japa, I mean, we have people that listen to us from different places in the world.
Hong Kong, China.
Exactly. Japa is a Yoruba word, but it's like a slang that has become Nigerianized. Basically means leaving your country of birth or your country of residence to go to another country, a better country, for greener pastures, for better opportunities
for yourself,
opportunities for your children. You understand? Just going in, like migrating to another country for better life.
That you perceive to be better, to be for better.
Exactly,
life,
exactly.
Because there has to be perception.
Exactly.
Because some people actually still believe that they can stay in their country of residence and still do very well there, and then it has been happening for some people. Right. So Japaing just simply means you perceive that there are better opportunities for you out there, and you want to pursue them out of the country of residence where you were born or something of that nature.
Yeah.
While Japaing is not a problem, I mean, the reality is, going back to history, people actually move from one country to another in search of greener pastures.
There have always been waves
of
Japaing.
So any Japaing you're seeing right now is not new, actually. There were times, even in our father's days, in the 60s and 70s, people Japad
a lot.
Yeah, it was the normal stuff.
Yeah, the world is changing. Many things are happening. And then there's a trend, particularly for people who are leaving places like Nigeria. We're seeing it happen with other people, but we can talk about, based on comments we've had and data we've received, how that people leave places like Nigeria and go to other countries, especially one country. I'm not going to mention the country. I'll use.
Why not?
Okay, so especially like countries like UK and Canada. Yeah. Those are the countries that have the most data on all these things, and we see how marriages that were in quotes okay,
when they
or even doing fine, objectively and subjectively, like they were doing fine. Some were doing fine, some were just being patched. But then they get to these countries and then the marriages just scatter. They don't scatter on a small scale of, okay, we go our separate ways. They scatter that is involving police. The scatter is involving children being separated. Like it's really like it's a pandemic, terrible. And it's happening. And you know, a lot of times we like to judge matters from the outside and just, you know, look at symptoms, whereas we want to talk about like the issue, what we think is, you know, causing the
what's causing it,
what's leading to it, exactly,
as much as possible. So like we always do, we are usually very preventive here, first of all.
Exactly.
To say, before it even happens at all, let's talk about it. How does it even start in the first instance? How does it happen? What are these unintended consequences? What are the things that you have to think about if you are about to get married or you're married and you're thinking of actually Japaing, relocating. Let's even start with those who are not married yet. So people need to understand why they are Japaing, right? If you meet somebody today, which actually happens these days, you see young people meeting and asking questions around, okay, where are you Japaing to, Canada or UK? For Canada, there are usually these points people have. The younger you are, the better the points and your higher chances of having a PR, blah, blah, blah. So some people actually come together these days, young people in their 20s saying, oh, are you Japan? Yes, okay, we can actually get married together and all that. While that is not a bad idea, you have to count your costs very well, as much as reasonably possible to say, this person you're Japaing with, what is the person's motive for Japaing? Because the unintended consequences can be related to the person actually has different motives from yours that might not be bad. Some is just economic opportunities. Some, they just feel like they have better chances of raising their children out of the country. Some, it is a mixture of both. Some is just like, I'm tired of Nigeria, I feel insecure, that's why I want to relocate. So there are different reasons, but you need to understand the motive behind your desire to Japa. Don't assume that the other person is Japaing for the same reason you are Japaing, because part of the unintended consequences is that people now get there. They now find out that their motives were absolutely different. They were not thinking about the same thing. One person probably was thinking about, oh, I want to have children in a sane environment. And the other person is thinking about, I came here to hustle. I'm not having children yet. Yeah. And the fight starts.
Yeah, another thing that I think has been like steady that we've seen is understanding how the system of where you are works, like understanding the system where you are and then where you're going to, understanding how that system works. He said something and I would like to continue from, or not continue, but just take a cue from there. You talked about one person wanting, I'm Japaing so that I can raise my children in a sane environment, I can be there, give them a better life, give them a secure life, a safe life, with good education, they won't need to be praying for NEPA, they won't do all those things, you understand? And the other person is like, oh, we're going to go and hustle, we're going to go and make money.
A lot of money.
In Nigeria, if you have the mindset of, I want to give my children a good life, I want to be there for my children, I want to protect them, and then one person wants to hustle, it's easy to do that. But if you go to certain climes where one income household, like if you want to stay at home, for instance, to take care of the children, you know, things like that. So understanding the systems is something that people overlook. You know, you can just think, oh, we're here in Nigeria and we love each other. Let's just go to a country where you can't afford to not hustle, to not work for both of you, to not put your feet in the ground to work. Or another thing about systems like that I was saying is like in a system like Nigeria, you know, Nigeria, as much as we like to maybe overflog or even not talk about it or deny, is sort of a patriarchal system. Yeah, and so it works that a man as the head of the home is the lord of the home, is the overall of the home. If husband and wife, these are things that have happened for years, and people are content with it. They don't, nothing challenges them, and they are okay with it. You see a woman who goes to work, comes back from work, her husband goes to work, comes back from work, and she still cooks for her husband. Or they go to church together on Sunday, they come back, and the woman is very happy to enter the kitchen and cook for her husband. It's her way of loving her family and showing them, you know, that she cares. Yeah. And then you go to a system where everything around you says that is wrong. Yeah. That shouldn't be.
In fact, the system is set up in such a way that you are not even expected to do that.
Exactly. And so if you don't understand why you're doing what you do in Nigeria, you get there and begin to question, and then you, instead of even, like, for instance, now I'm not going into this because this is another topic. Going into, oh, does your husband help in the kitchen? Should the wife do this?
But it's a reality. It's a reality, actually. I mean, it's very valid in this.
Yeah, but it's a deeper conversation on when the man does things in the house, is he helping? The culture. When the woman does something in the house, is she helping? No, that's a different conversation. Maybe we'll still talk about that. But what I'm trying to say is, you now get to that system where you don't even now ask for, you don't say, oh, I don't think this should be this. I think, oh, we're both doing this. I think we should, I think you as a husband should do. You just begin to, oh, this guy is this guy is that. And then instead of communicating and talking, you allow the seed to be watered and to grow and to germinate.
So you grow
and
then to an environment
resentment sets in, and then you begin to see yourself as oppressed, and it becomes a whole other issue. You know, when things, like I would always like to say, as much as this sounds spooky and spiritual, the devil is against good marriages. So if you're having a good thing and something comes up, just know that it's not from God. And I don't want us to think, oh, she's being too spiritual. The truth is, the devil doesn't like a good marriage, because a good marriage is typifying what God wants to have with us. So allowing such seeds to germinate without dealing with it, without understanding, will just lead to resentment. And these are things that we've seen. A lot of people now begin to say, oh, my husband did this, and then you ask the man. Now, I'm not exonerating the man from understanding or from knowing that you ought to help in the house, but I'm saying that there are certain things that as women, if you don't communicate, because of upbringing and because of how men have been, they might not know. If you don't communicate, he's not a witch or a wizard, he might not know. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, thank God, okay, people that know us know how much of a hands-on dad and hands-on husband is. So I'm not in any way saying that men shouldn't do exactly, but I'm saying that certain things that if you don't communicate, because of where this person is coming from, the person might not know. And so do you have
so I mean, let me, as you're talking, I was just thinking about one of these Newton's laws of motion. An object continues to move on a straight line, right,
except
until
it's acted
upon by an external force to act otherwise, right? So you're saying somebody has been doing it in Nigeria, everything was fine, and then they now get to the UK.
In fact, she was even happy doing it.
And then she sees other people doing the other way around, and she feels like, this is liberation. Let me just liberate myself. So that's why I said something about motive at the beginning, that what's your motive for Japaing? Because if your motive is very strong, it's very clear to both parties. There are certain things that you will get into that new system. You talked about system, which is another thing we're still going to talk about in details. How the system actually changes abruptly when you get there. Like it's a different system entirely. Okay, let me give you a good example. First time I went to Dubai, I think I mentioned it to you that time, I met a German lady. And the German lady...
You think you mentioned it to me? You mentioned
I think I mentioned it to you. Like, I met a German lady, and then this German lady was going to travel around the world for 6 months. That's the culture in the West. Like, they believe strongly in you should actually work, and when it's time to play, you play. But if you are married, and you are an African, and you go to Germany, you can't just leave your family and up and say, I want to travel around the world for 6 months. Those things,
I think even if you're not an African, I think marriage in itself, you can't just up wherever you are.
People do it. People do it in the West. Like you can just
with
say,
their spouses.
Without their spouses, and say, I just want to go and have a good time, a me time. I travel around the world. Yeah,
for
people
6
do it.
months.
Maybe not for 6 months, but people do that, right? Yeah, people do that. What I'm trying to say is, you are entering into a new system, a different culture, where the way people think is very different from how you think. And then your motive behind traveling is not solid enough to withstand whatever shaking is going to come from that system. So you went for whatever motive you had, but you saw a woman who is that independent there, and you start feeling, oh, I feel like I'm caged. I feel like I'm not really expressing myself like I should express myself as a woman. I've been underutilizing myself. And while it is not wrong to actually really, there's what's called self-actualization.
Yes.
You while discover it is not
more,
wrong
you
to
grow
pursue
into who you are.
Self-actualization. You have to understand that you are no longer a solitary system when you get married. You are now an entity. And your entity has to move. It's like the ship cannot, a part of the ship cannot say, yeah, sorry, I'm not moving with the whole ship part. You have to move with the whole ship part. Like, no matter how complex it is, that complex shifts rather in how you see things or how you want to be doing things has to factor in your husband, has to factor in your children, or your wife, as the case might be. Because
I think this is I digress, but this is one of the strongest points. I'm a proponent for early marriage, but this is the con I have with early marriage.
Yeah, like you
that's
don't
like
have
a
all
major
the,
con. Yes,
you don't have all the time.
You don't really know who you are.
Before you get married.
You've not grown into your not explored.
And sorry. And one thing that Japad does to you is that it actually gives you an opportunity to explore.
Yes.
You see the world in a different light. You're free in quotes. Like the system is very different.
There are many things that you want to do, you want to explore. For instance, you're like, oh, and then you're like, if my daddy hears now, my mom hears now, my brother, my pastor, if my people on the street, you can't do things anyhow.
How people's faith change.
You can't drive on the street anyhow. People would, your neighbor, you can't even say, let me dress up. People, is that not? But then you go to a new, and this happens even when you don't Japa. When you're in a new country, you're on vacation, and 2 days, I'm like, nobody knows me. I can't do anyhow. I can't do anyhow at the pool.
It's a different world entirely.
Nobody knows me. There's this freedom that comes with it. And if you don't know who you are, if you don't know why you're doing what you do, if you don't know why you're in the institution you're in, if you don't know why the system you're getting into is the way it is, and the advantages and disadvantages, you would lose yourself.
You get lost, actually. So that's why that motive, for those who are yet to get married or are listening to us, your motive for Japaing has to be very clear, and it has to be solid. Data-backed, prayer-backed, God-backed, clarity. Like, you're clear that this is why I'm Japaing. Because a lot of things happen there. And then it has to be
informed. It can't just be, that's why I said data. It can't just be, okay, this is why I think. And you can say you have motives and you're sure about your motives, but your motives are not backed by knowledge. Because because you've not lived in that country. Exactly. Apart from that, I don't know, like, I can believe that nobody can give me water that is more than this. And I sincerely believe it. Like, oh, water can't be more than, if this is maybe 300 mils, I'm like, it's not possible to drink more than 300 mils because that's all I know. And I'm saying, okay, I have my motive written down, I have my data, it's 300 mils, and then I travel and I see somebody chugging 1,000 mils, and I'm like, wow, like, you did not know this existed. So your motive can't just be, oh, this is our motive, because you will see life, information. It has to be data backed. You have to be informed. So the country you're going into, that your motive has to be tested against their system. Exactly. For instance, if it is greener pastures you're looking for, why you want to Japa, for instance, you have to ask yourself, what are the things, what's the data points around when people travel to this country? Like, for instance, there's certain countries like China, Japan, that Africans have gone to. And I see them on TikTok, Instagram, talking about the fact that, hey, it's not actually very easy to get a job here. Language barrier is the first issue. Then you talk about even things around cultural barriers, skill barriers. So all those stuff you have to know. What are the skill sets you have now that are very irrelevant when you get there? And what are the new skill sets you have to pick? Because sometimes what usually happens to people is they have good motive, they get there, find out that I'm not getting a job, which is another problem. There's usually the trailing partner syndrome. Trailing partner syndrome is two people chose to get married in Nigeria. They were all doing well career-wise, and they now move to another country. One partner probably has a skill set that is better compatible with that environment. You can give examples. Other spouse does not have that same skill set. And a nurse. My uncle, I mean, this is personal story. My uncle was an accountant in Nigeria. His wife was a nurse, doing very well, and then they won the American lottery. This is years ago, decades ago, and then they went to the US, and an accountant that was the head of the home in terms of not just being the man, but in terms of finance, and then his wife bringing in the box, and yes, an accountant is not paid because the skill set is well rewarded there. I mean, today my uncle is a nurse. Yeah, he had to be a nurse because it's not as if accountants don't do well there, but at the same time, compared with what nurses make there, they make a lot more. Do you understand? So he had to. In fact, I had an uncle also who was a lawyer in Nigeria. Yes. And then he got to the UK. And it was very clear that, hey, these lawyers can't work here. You have to switch to IT, right? Yes. So sometimes that reality was set in. So a trailing partner syndrome is when one party now fails to realize fast that I need to upskill. Or you're now stuck with menial jobs. I'm now stuck with menial jobs, and the other person is doing very well. Then resentment sets in. Even sometimes, not even resentment, it is discouragement. The person feels depressed, and the person probably starts thinking, I was better off in Nigeria. I was better off in my home country. I'm suffering here. Now, if it happens to the woman, sometimes it's easier because of the African mindset. What I'm saying is easier is sometimes it's easier on the woman to say, okay, the man has always been the breadwinner in Nigeria, so even here his skill set is still making a lot of money for us. So let me be the home keeper. It happens that way, but it becomes harder
when it is the woman's skill set that now brings a lot more money.
That
and
one
the
is,
man, but see, these are realities.
I understand,
The
but
man
it's
has
still
been wired to
mindset,
be
exactly.
he has been wired to be the
mindset
breadwinner.
of the man.
That's the mindset problem.
Having to be the one that brings in the most income.
Exactly.
Where I'm even going is further down that line. Like, one person now is left behind, having to do menial jobs or not being like a professional anymore, and then the professional now outgrowing the non-professional, and then meeting people who are equal high flyers.
Yeah, this
you
is a
now
real life
your
story you're sharing.
partner now becoming like irritating to you, like you're just there, you're not even upskilling.
So let's pause there, because
you understand, these are things, these are
some people are
realities.
actually in this situation you're describing right
Yes.
now. So what I think can be a solution in that regard, I will still go back to that motive or your foundation. Like, when you were getting married, what were you thinking about? Like, were you thinking about, this person is actually my ride or die, like my spouse? I don't think my wife will be making billions of dollars somewhere and I'm making maybe tens of thousands of dollars in comparison, and I'll be feeling somehow. I don't think so. Do you know why? Because I feel like our foundation is very clear. Our foundation is solid. We understand that whatever happens to you happens to me. Whatever happens to me happens to you.
We are actually one.
We are one.
Not
It's just that one person
words.
is actually getting to bring the money
Exactly.
in,
It's
and the other
a
person
we
is
thing.
yeah, it's a we thing. So the spouse that is meeting big people, that is doing great things with her career or his career, and then now looking down on the other person who is not really doing so well in that country, the Japad too. I feel the fundamental problem with that relationship is that one person has not always been in love.
Yes.
If you have always been in
It's
love
a
with the
personal
person,
problem.
the only
It
problem
is
is
a
if
new
the spouse is not lazy, destructive, or even resentful and starts fighting you. But if it's a normal situation where it's just, like I said, that Newton's law of motion, like if it's just an external force that is coming to hit your marriage,
Shake it.
who you are should remain who you are.
True.
It shouldn't change. Like, except the person truly did not love you at the beginning. Because I have seen you have money during my birthday and you actually spray everything you have on me.
Don't worry.
I've seen that happen.
So
if you have billions of dollars, I just feel like I'm happier. Like, my baby get money. Yeah, let me just be sleeping. I'm never going to work again. Let me be the home keeper.
Let me be the house husband.
You understand what I'm trying to say? I don't think I would feel like my wife is making the money and I'm not making the money, because first of all, I'm not dumb. Wait, let's First of all, I'm not dumb.
You're secure in yourself.
I'm secure in myself. I'm not dumb. Whatever money you are making, it is our money, right? I can't be sitting down at home and be looking at that money, for instance. I will start thinking, you're making a lot of money. What can we do with this money? It is we. It's not a matter of, you're making all the money and you're keeping it. So if there is a fundamental problem with how they see money, when you japa, it becomes more amplified.
Yes.
It becomes accentuated. Like, it will be very clear that there is a fundamental problem. And that is why I always say, build a solid foundation. Before you leave the country, if you're yet to japa, think about it like, this person I want to marry, are there circumstances that have happened in the past that have actually shown the true color of this person when it comes to money, when it comes to power? Because the truth is, power shift happens when you japa.
I mean, he who brings in the money has the power. And that's not how it's meant to be in marriage.
Yeah. So that's why I said the foundation has to be solid. Yeah. So if you're marrying somebody and you guys plan to japa, these scenarios have to be played out. You guys have to talk about it. Like, what's our foundation for this marriage? Because in our marriage, we talked about it before we had anything, before anything started coming. So there's nothing like, oh, now you now have money, you're now behaving like this or something. No, it is our money, and it has been demonstrated at different levels, right? So when you get married to someone before you japa, or you are already japaing, maybe you're married and you're about to japa, you have to think about it very well. Like, okay, what holds us together when these external forces come? Let's even talk about the systems a little bit. So there are systems that actually change.
Culture.
In Nigeria now, we can afford to have help.
Yes.
My wife just put to bed. No stress. There is help. But in the UK, to pay for help, you will pay through your nose. In fact, if you are collecting the salary, you just be dumping it for the help.
No, it is that if I was earning money, maybe my salary, you will now be adding to my salary to pay help. So
it will make sense, right? So
if you grew up if you're a cultural traditional Nigerian
who now
man
doesn't,
who is
who's
like,
not
oh,
hands-on.
my wife should, I mean, I can't boil water, I'm the man.
My wife
my
has to
wife
cook
would
for
do
me.
this, my wife would do this, and then your wife is incapacitated. Even if she enjoys doing it, there's certain times when a woman is incapacitated for pregnancy, menstruation, childbirth, childcare, whatever it is, and you can't do that. You can't take out the trash, you can't cook, you can't wash plates. Even down to, I mean, people here of our age, like very, very few people in Nigeria wash plates, like as the men or as the, even as the women wash plates or sweep the house or tidy the house. But if you go to certain countries, you cannot expect that it is one person.
It's only one person that will be doing the job. I spoke with one of my friends in the UK recently, and he was telling me his wife just put to bed not long ago, and he was telling me how he has to do house chores, he has to clean the floor, has to wash the plates, has to go to work, say come back and take care of the baby.
But these things is not an issue for him because
I have always known him to be a handsome guy.
Exactly. There are times when in our marriage we couldn't afford help and we were doing these things ourselves. So it's like simulating what it will be. So if you don't deal with certain things, that's what I think you're trying to say, and I'm also trying to say that if your marriage is strong, if you have simulated ideas, if you guys talk about things and understand why you do things the way you do, if you love each other genuinely, intentionally, if you believe that you are one, then the outside shakings of Japaing shouldn't move your marriage. Because we've seen people who have had issues because of emptying the trash, washing plates. These are things that in Nigeria would have been easier to do, but certain people don't have such luxuries even in Nigeria, and they are surviving. You know that it's just both of us. We have 2 children. I mean, this is us. I can tell you in real time, we didn't have help, and it's 2 of us. We have 2 children. We divide and conquer because it is ours. It is our family. It is our lives. We have to do these things together. So if you've overcome such things in Nigeria and you know that it is us, we're in a country where we can't afford help, it is us against the world. Our house has to be clean, we have to have food, our children have to be taken care of, not, oh, you have to do this, you have to do this, or you have to bring this, you have to bring this. If you understand that, if you love each other genuinely and talk about these things, it would help.
Yeah, actually. So, you know, we're talking about unintended consequences.
Yeah.
So, technically, we've talked about the system. We've scratched the surface. This is a very deep topic, actually. We've scratched the surface. But let's talk a little bit about the system and the effect it has on individuals. We've talked about maybe in terms of skill sets and job-related stuff. But how about even the mental health side of things? I went to Paris for work sometime like last year or 2 years ago. And it's last year, right? All the work I was doing, I was working very hard. But one thing I noticed was that nobody sends you in that place. You can have a flatmate that doesn't care about you, not even saying good morning. So a lot of people, especially if you are a colored person, right? When you get to certain climes in the world, you probably are looked down on. Officially, people don't even greet you. Your white neighbors don't even look at you. They don't even send you.
Yes,
there's a systemic racism that happens. You probably don't get a job because you're black, or you get a job, or you don't get to be greeted by your neighbors in the morning because you're black.
People just look at you like, oh, you're a threat.
Yeah,
because you
or you're a person from the third world, so you should be treated as such.
And I think this thing is like, now I'm not blaming white people or blaming people in such climes. It's based on information and news. Because even here in Nigeria, I mean, there's certain people that I would see, you can look a certain way, and I see you and I guard my pockets because
I've already
the stories we've heard
based
on what we've heard. So now this is not a like,
but it's a reality.
It's a reality, yes.
Reality.
I mean,
so an average black man is profiled to be maybe dangerous out there. So there are certain places you go to, they'll start looking at you like one kind, like, I hope it's not they want to come and rob us or something of that nature. You're already profiled, there's already prejudice, right?
There's the angry black woman stereotype.
Exactly. So there is a mental health side to relocating to another country that you have to prepare for, right? And part of the unintended consequences is that those things are going to affect you mentally. I stayed there for like a week plus or thereabouts, right? But the truth is, I can't imagine myself staying like that for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and I wouldn't feel it because I actually felt it. In fact, I called my wife steady because I mean there was nobody to talk to in a sense. You just come, get your job done, and move. The only people that were friendly were fellow black guys that we probably have 1 or 2 works to do together. That's just an example.
I mean, it might not be that they are unfriendly to you because you're black. It might just be a culture of minding your business.
Now, the point is that culture of minding your business is not the culture we have in Nigeria.
Exactly. So
in
because
Nigeria, on the average,
culture,
on the average, when you're moving around and you're walking, people say hi, throw banter, talk, and all this kind of stuff.
Especially like
you will know when somebody's friendly.
In those days, yes, your neighbors would greet.
Yeah, there's this.
You see, hello, eku this, eku
exactly,
that.
exactly. But that's not what happens in those countries. In fact, more often than not, what you hear is the fact that you're black already even puts you in a position where people talk to you less.
But you know that,
depending on the climate, anyways.
This thing you're talking about, how upbringing like affects, even like how we grew up and our experience with being friendly with neighbors and everything is not the experience our children have.
In a sense, yeah, I agree. In a sense, yeah.
Because our children only get to say good morning and hello to people that we expose them to.
Yeah, true.
And that is our friends. Like, it's curated.
Yeah.
It's not like growing up where I had neighbors of, like, it's not the same thing. And so
yeah, I agree.
It's a different climate. So understanding that you're entering a different climate.
Yeah, where you
might not get to talk to somebody in a month.
In fact, we actually counted one person. If you remember, the person was saying that the way it is in some parts of Canada is that you actually don't have anybody to talk to.
He was working remotely.
All through. You hardly have anybody to say good morning to. Like, sometimes you can actually go gaga in the process, like, let me call people at home. That's why you notice that a lot of people who are actually out of the country, they call people at home more because, like, they have to talk.
And people at home have their own issues.
Now, this is what I'm saying. In terms of relationships,
yes.
That already is a mental health kind of stress. Now, 2 people now living together and all they have is themselves. They don't have any friend like that in the environment. The environment is not so friendly. And maybe they have one issue or the other and they choose not to talk to themselves. That's a serious mental health issue.
They have unresolved issues.
The sentiments. They probably don't even have an environment where they can say, okay, let's talk to a friend or let's talk to somebody. So some of them, when they come for counseling, you see it that this marriage is heavily strained because of the environment. In Nigeria or in Africa, you have a support system. That's another thing.
Yes.
There is a support system. When you put to bed, your parents come, they take care of your baby, your friends come around. In some climes, you are on your own.
Yes.
You don't even have close friends that probably will come and do a mugo. Even if they come and greet you, they say hello and they go. You are on your own.
I mean, I had someone bring pepper soup for me. I had someone come and every pregnancy. She's amazing. Shout out to Auntie Uzo. My mom's friend. She never fails.
Never fails.
From our first child, she has been bringing the pepper.
To that pepper soup.
She has been, I can tell her, oh, I gave birth today. She has no idea of my pregnancy. And she will bring me pepper soup.
Straight up.
I love her so much. Thank you. And then I also had another friend offer to come and, press my tummy, do all the things that my mom would have done if she was alive. And, these are things that you might not be able to get
in some climes outside Africa. Yeah. So I think those things have to be paid attention to. But I think the primary problem why people have major issues in their relationships when they japa is the foundation is faulty. I keep saying it.
Yes, that's the truth.
If you actually are in love with someone, even though external forces might come, because you really truly love this person and your foundation is solid. Love is not enough. Let's get it wrong.
Love is not
wisdom.
The objective love. Like, not just that I believe I love you. Because a lot of times we're sincerely ignorant. Like, I can think I love you, but my actions say otherwise. And in my mind, I'm not pretending and I'm not lying. I just don't know love. And so because I don't know love,
how to love you the way you want to be
loved. I can't love you how love is meant to be loved. We get the message. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to let us know, like, I can sincerely, like, I like to see the good in people. But your goodness or your intentions don't always translate to what happens.
Yeah.
Just like what the topic is, unintended consequences. I can think I love you, and I genuinely don't love you because I don't know what love is. I don't know who love is. I don't know how to love you. I don't know what your love language is. I just say I love you because, I feel this certain way. There's no bad intention. I'm not pretending. I'm not lying. But doesn't mean I know how to love you. So like he said, the foundation is the real deal. Like, it's like tests. Like, marriages face tests.
Yeah.
It's just that those who japa face rougher tests sooner, with more pressure and faster. You know, I can pour water from this cup on him like this. If this is an empty cup, I can pour water from this cup and pour on him, and he can survive. Like, he can, you know, even be talking while I'm pouring the water over his head, and then he's able to close his eyes or push away the water. But if I get a hose, a very high pressured hose, and I even now use my hand to like close up and then increase the pressure, and I spray on his face, he would be in pain. He might not be able to breathe, and he can be injured.
Yeah.
So every marriage faces water pouring on them. But Japaing just exactly at different pressure levels. So Japaing shakes the foundation. If you don't have a strong foundation, I mean, shakes your foundation
financially, emotionally, spiritually. Yeah. And you have to be prepared for it. So we've talked about some unintended consequences, like you're exposed to a different system, right? We've talked about maybe mental health. We've talked about skill sets. I wanted to mention something around even the spouse being a support system. You see, when people japa, you can actually be your spouse's support system.
Your spouse's therapist.
Your spouse's
you
therapist.
You take turns. Both of you shouldn't be down at the same time.
And that still goes back to that foundation thing to say, if you truly love this person, and you've defined that love well now, to say, it's not just about saying I love you with all the mouth, but like you actually really know how to love this person. People actually, I've seen people who have done very well in their marriages because their spouse was with them through thick and thin when they Japad, until things worked out. I saw a story of a young man who Japad from Nigeria and went to the US and met a lady in church, and she has been his backbone ever since. Like, it was from the church he met her, married her, and she's been a very strong backbone for him till now.
But is he also her backbone?
Yeah, of course, definitely, definitely, because he supports her.
Because that's another thing. One person cannot just be in your life to support you.
Yeah, what I'm saying that is, if you truly know that you have each other, then you have to be that support system for each other. Yes. It has to be us against the world.
Against the world.
It has to be, we are fighting forces, just like you said, pressure is coming, it's mounting. We're not going to cave in, we're not going to give in to the pressure. Instead, we're going to stand together to withstand the pressure and work at it. And I think that's what is lacking in most marriages. We've seen that have problems when they japa. Like, there's that togetherness is not there.
Self-preservation on each side.
Yeah.
Let me just protect myself in case let me do this. Then listening to third parties that you don't do this for a man, you don't do this, you have to do these things in your name, you have to do this, your wife is not your blood. Different kinds of different things that you hear, and it builds the gap. It widens the lacuna that is between both of you, that, you know, both of you are meant to be a force. Two of you together is, I mean, I digress again. We heard a man, I don't know if he's a man of God, I don't know, but he's an elderly man who has been married for over 40 years, talk about him and his wife when they agree together.
Yeah,
anything they agree together. Yeah. And I believe that that's a powerful force. Like, it is one of the most underutilized power that comes from marriage. It's like magic. There's nothing my husband and I have ever agreed on that has not happened. That has not
come to pass. Yeah, there's a force, there's a synergy that comes with being together and agreeing together on stuff.
So the foundation being not being hazy, not being clear, both of you know, is a big issue. And we hope that you've, I mean, I don't want this to be so long.
I wanted to say something again about another aspect. How about singles who did not marry before they left Nigeria? And they are there. Japa has affected their chances of getting married.
To who they want, not just chances of getting married. It's because they are looking for
like-minded. We should get married to who you want now.
No. You are looking for somebody that is like you. Like,
sometimes
and that's what
marriage looking for somebody that is like you.
Values.
We've talked to a couple now, baby. You know, we've talked to a couple of them, and you know that it's not just about some of them. If they find anybody that looks like it, they will go. But the thing is, where they are living, first of all, maybe somewhere in Canada, very remote, they hardly see human beings. They hardly see people. We've built a platform that takes care of that in a sense, right? And we're still going to expose that very soon. Like, people having a forum where they can actually talk as singles and share their profile. Anybody who is in your area can actually say, okay, this is where you stay, here, come, let's talk, that kind of stuff. But before we talk about using technology to help them, what else can they do? Because it's a serious matter. It's an unintended consequence.
of Japan.
And it's a reality. What can they do? Because it's real and it's plenty out there.
I agree. It's very real. So what can they do?
I'm asking you now. All right. So I think.
What do you think we can do? What do you think such people can do?
You want to throw it to
the comment section, because it's a real issue.
It's a real issue, actually.
And you're not in their shoes, so you can't just say, endure, or just look around. I mean, they're looking around. If they have found, they won't be in the situation they're in.
Well, so our platform we've built should take care of that to a large extent, right? But at the same time, maybe in the comment section we'll see more ways to actually, maybe networking. People network and talk online and all that. It's still an online
they did
stuff.
not network before.
You understand?
I mean, finding like the more abroad, like I don't use abroad as like abroad a place. I mean abroad like the more away, the more scattered you are from your home ground, the less chances you have people that have values
that are similar.
And exactly, and those are the things that bring people together to say they want to get married. So I think it's genuinely harder. Sincerely, it's harder to find people who have like shared values, shared beliefs, I think it's harder when you spread abroad. But God.
What we're gonna do with our platform is we want to really help people in that situation who are maybe solitary, isolated in different countries in the world, and they are Africans. They just don't know how to connect.
You don't have to be Africans.
Yeah, you don't have to be Africans. If you watch this and you are solitary, come to that platform. We're going to display it on the
Bible
screen,
says that God puts the solitary in family.
Yeah, come to that platform, put your name, your profile, and sell yourself there. Oh, this is what I do, this is where I live, or something of that nature. And, then
by me saying it's still God that'll do it, I'm not saying that God will bring a man or bring a woman to your room. I'm saying God would guide you and give you the wisdom, the instruction, the steps to take. You know how if I want to eat a sandwich now and I genuinely don't know anything about how a sandwich is made, and I pray to God with maybe like as a child, with a child's heart, God can tell me, okay, stand up now, go downstairs, go outside, buy bread. You understand? This is how, like, that's what I mean by God is still the one. God will lead you.
But you still have to do some
exactly.
Yeah.
God will lead you and guide you, because it's God that puts the solitary in families. And I believe that God will settle everyone, relationship-wise and marital-wise, in Jesus' name.
And there are people who have good stories of this, how God actually settled them. They were in strange lands, and God still settled them. Maybe
it's God that does it now. It's in the Bible.
Or something.
God puts the solitary in families.
So it's hold the
jugular,
the jugular of God. And it will settle you. All right, thank you very much.
So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, share, leave a comment, ask questions, let us know what you'd like us to talk about next. See you.
Yeah. Cheers.